us know if we're blurry. It won't matter at that point, but
After the fact.
Welcome back to the Midnight Memo. My name is Claire.
And I'm Kristen.
And we're so happy to have you this evening or in the afternoon, or if you're listening to this in the morning, that's cool too.
That's cool too, dude.
Yeah, you do you, but we just like doing things at nighttime, I guess. So,
do we like to, or is that just how it always happens?
It's how it happens, I think. Like, I really don't hit my stride until like 6 p.m.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Guys, I feel like this is a low energy day.
Yeah.
It's very like gloomy and gray outside in Seattle today. It's been raining like all day. And
supposedly it's going to snow.
Okay, rude.
I don't know. Supposedly.
Yeah. So, okay, Mother Nature decided that a couple, like in the beginning of the week, it was really hot and warm.
Yeah.
And then on Tuesday, it snowed.
Yep.
What? That doesn't even make sense.
Nope. It was like, yeah, like super bright and sunny. Like I only wore one layer of clothing, which my usual average is like 3 on at least the upper body or the lower body.
Yeah.
Because I run very cold. So I only needed like one. And I was like, what in tarnations? Like what's going on? And then like Claire said, it snowed. And there was lightning on Monday
gosh.
when I was driving home from work. Did you?
I don't even remember.
Dude, there was like I left the house for the first time all day that day, and as soon as I got to where I needed to go, there was literally a flash of lightning, and I was like, so I'm gonna die here, and that's it. I was like, I'm not gonna make it home. And it was for an appointment, and my assistant was like, oh yeah, that's like heat lightning, blah 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 blah, like I love those. And I was like,
what's the difference between heat lightning and regular lightning?
There's no thunder afterwards, it's just a flash of light, apparently. So I've been told now. And I was like, how is it heat lightning if it's literally snowing outside right now?
That's true.
So basically, TLDR, I don't understand the weather.
Listen,
which
the
is
world
another
is
thing.
ending.
If we've explained that enough in this podcast, we don't understand weather.
No, we don't. Some meteorologists will have to explain to us what's going on.
Yeah.
I still think that I believe in the conspiracy theory that we release like some chemicals into the air to help meteorologists predict what weather is coming.
Never heard of that one.
You haven't?
No.
Interesting.
What?
Well,
interesting. Like as a society, like.
Yeah. Well, it stems from me not understanding anything.
I don't get it. Therefore, someone's leaking something somewhere.
But I feel like it makes kind of some sense. Like when California was in drought and we needed it to rain, like I feel like there was some sort of, I don't know. The more I explain it, the less it makes sense. So let's just pretend I didn't say anything.
Ignore me, please.
I've done a full circle and
Good.
So we're just gonna ignore that. Just moving on.
Moving right past that. Lovely.
Yes. Do you have Monday off?
I do.
I don't have Monday off.
I mean, it's equivalently going to be my Sunday because I was living on a prayer today. I am barely alive.
Yeah, I get it.
QI, there's an IV in this bottle. Fun fact, there is strawberry IV in here because I need all the help I can get right now.
We're doing great.
Yeah, can't you tell?
Yeah. I feel like we're physically dying for different reasons.
Yeah.
But it's okay, we're both dying.
Oh, lovely.
Anyway.
I'll see you in the afterlife, right?
No. I don't know. Can you volunteer just to be like, I don't want to be here anyway when you're in the afterlife? And
then what, you'll just Coco disappearo?
Yeah. Just in the good place.
You're so morbid. You're so incredibly morbid. I hate it.
Okay. Moving on to a less morbid topic.
You're the definition of, the archetype of golden retriever boyfriend and then black cat girlfriend. Yeah. You're just black cat girlfriend. Just as a person.
Oh, that's so true.
Doesn't matter who's the other pairing. Just as a human, you are a black cat girlfriend.
I mean, I do feel like I kind of have that dynamic with my boyfriend right now.
You guys definitely have. He's not as stereotypical golden retriever boyfriend though. I feel like usually golden retriever boyfriends are very extroverted and they're hi, how you doing? And he's not necessarily that, but he is golden retriever in the the nicer sweet tendencies for sure.
Yeah.
But you are the epitome of black cat girlfriend.
Yeah.
Don't talk to me, don't bother me, please do not interact with me.
I'm done for today.
Leave me alone, you're all gonna die.
Yes. Or am I just being realistic?
That's a very black cat girlfriend answer.
I'm just saying. Anyway, on a less morbid topic, or kind of still a morbid topic, bad dating stories.
Oh, okay. I was I don't even know.
Breakup stories.
I was I don't remember what we agreed on.
Yeah.
Okay, yes, continue.
I don't remember clearly if we actually, I know we've talked about it on the podcast before, but I don't know if it made it out of the edited version of the podcast.
It might be on the B-sides, to be honest.
So yeah, we were thinking that it would be
sorry.
on the, what is it?
Not the B-sides?
No. We thought it would be fun to kind of share a couple of our bad dating stories, maybe some breakup stories. So many. I think really only one really terrible one comes to mind.
Let's start with dating first.
Yeah.
So do you have a bad dating story?
I do.
Tell me about a bad date you've had. This will be really interesting for me because Claire doesn't. I keep interrupting you. I'm so sorry. Because Claire doesn't tell me about her dates until like 3 years later.
Well, considering
you won't tell me about your boyfriend. Like you'll be like, oh, I dated this guy, and I'm like, oh wait, like 3 years ago, and she's talking about it like it's happening currently, and I'm like,
yeah, I'm like the type of person who, if like I need to date someone kind of like in private for the first few months, because if it doesn't work out, then like why did I even like introduce them into the other people that I care about?
Yeah.
Like,
and you definitely get that from your mom.
Yeah.
From what you've told me about like when your mom was dating before. And you didn't even have any idea. So that makes sense.
Yeah.
And I don't know if we've talked about this on the podcast either, but I have told other people about this story as you were saying that. And I feel like I just want to expose you now. So Claire, when she was dating literally her current partner right now.
Yeah.
Okay. So we were trying to make plans for something. I think it was for my Halloween party. I was trying to make plans with you or something like that. Don't quite remember.
I have no idea.
But it was in October. That's why I remember this. And then we were planning something and you told me like, oh, I'm going, can't make that weekend, whatever, because I'm going down to Portland. And I was like, oh, that's so fun. Like, where, like, what's it, like, what you doing? Who's it with?
Yeah.
What's the occasion? And you're like, oh, just like going down with a friend, just for the weekend for like a day or two, like, no big deal, just for funsies. And I was like, okay, well, have fun, whatever. Forgot about it. Didn't see you for maybe a month because just life, whatever. And then when I see you again, I asked you about it. And then you're like, oh yeah, my boyfriend. And I was like, who? And I was like, who the fuck is this? And then I was like, wait, is this the person that you were dating like months ago? That again, like after you guys went on like maybe 1 or 2 dates, never heard about him again. And you're like, no, we broke up months ago after that date. We never dated again.
Yeah.
This is a completely new person. Actually, this is the person I went to Portland with.
Yeah.
And I was like, you went to Portland with a male and didn't fucking tell me.
Yeah.
So afterwards, like just for safety, you were going to Portland with a strange man and I didn't know.
Yeah. Okay, listen.
Defend this.
I am like the type of person who, when I date people, I like need to feel them out for myself, and I don't introduce them to my friends or anything until a little while into dating. Yeah. And I know that there are a lot of people who literally like you'll be texting like, hey, I'm going to a party, want to meet up like at the party, and they'll like invite whoever they're dating at the time to the party.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's also, I feel like it's a similar train of thought to like if you were invited to a wedding, and you have a +1, don't bring the girlfriend that you've only been dating a couple months. You know what I mean?
Like, okay, like kinda. I feel like those aren't equivalents.
Like, but I kind of think it is, because like if you just like,
are you talking about to invite like a person that you're dating to like a just casual party with friends, or like to introduce them to friends? Period.
Just to introduce them. Period. Because I never wanted to be the type of person, like this is probably me overthinking as well. Like I've never wanted to be the type of person who like brings someone new to every single party.
I think that's different though. I think it's different and it's totally valid. And I do agree with the like not bringing a partner or someone you're kind of dating.
Like if you don't really know what it is yet, then like.
Exactly. Yeah. Until you define it, I feel like personally I would not bring them around until it's at least serious enough to define. Be like, either this is my partner or someone I'm dating. Like, no situationships, you know, never the situationship type of thing.
Yeah.
But I think it's different introducing them to friends and things like that versus even just telling your friends you're seeing someone. That's different.
I don't know.
That's different.
Maybe it's
to
just
even
because
be like I went on a date. Like I don't know when your first date was. I don't think like
October 20th.
Okay,
that was our first date.
Thanks. But like until way later, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know, because I always have a fear of like, oh, I tell someone I'm like dating and then like immediately be like, just kidding. Oh, like I'm dating another person, just kidding. Like I don't know.
And what's wrong with that? Give me something entertaining. God, I want to know the tea. I would love to know that.
Yeah, I guess it's like a societal pressure thing where it's like I don't want to come off like I have someone new every single month, or like
that's
someone.
What dating is.
That's fair. Yeah.
Like overall dating. Mm-hmm. It's not like you would go on a date and you're like, this is my boyfriend, and the next time, just kidding. It's like if it's just a date, there's a lot. I feel like telling your friends about it at least, like is a lot less commitment to be like, oh, I'm just going on a date with this person. Then all I care about is like, okay, was he a slob? What's the tea? What's his red flags? Like fun stuff.
Yeah.
And then when it's like actually like, okay, this is serious, we've gone on multiple dates, then I'm like, okay, like now we got to dig into this man.
Yeah.
And I understand getting defensive about that because obviously I will get into the man. But
yeah, that's fair. I don't know. I guess I'm just more of a private person when it comes to dating.
No, I know that makes sense. But that's why I had to call you out on it because
That's true.
Literally, you went to a different city, a different state with a man. And I didn't know about it until like a month after it happened. I just assumed, I was like, oh, this is one of your girlfriends, like one of your dance friends, a girlfriend, whatever, whatever. You left with a man.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Gross.
Gross. Many red flags. So
Yes.
I didn't like him at first because I was like, what are you doing? Who's
Who
this?
are you?
But now I love and adore him, so like I guess he's okay. But
He's pretty great.
he's
I'll
all
say
right.
that.
He's all right.
Yeah, but I can't think of a specific bad date story, but I can think of
So
like
privileged.
an overall, like I can think of awkward dates. I can think of an overall experience dating someone that like turned out to be crazy, but I can't.
That's true. You have had like
like
relationships that have turned out weird.
it's not like it was a bad date, but it was like the time in between seeing each other for the dates that got weird.
Yeah.
So I guess it's like bad dating, but not like an actual story about the date that
You
was
want to
weird.
tell us one of those?
I mean, you can go first.
I think, yeah, I've had weird relationships, but my like token weirdest date I've ever been on was when I agreed to go on a date and I didn't realize it was a date.
And I think that happens to a lot of girls. Like, guys, you need to be more specific, like when you're asking someone out.
Yeah, I think, well, apparently I think it was not clear. I totally did not even interpret it as a date until literally the end of the date. And I'll tell you guys about that. But then later on when we went to our roommate at the time, and I was, because she was there, we were studying, it was me, our roommate, and then this dude and we were all studying for a class together, and that's when he asked me. And so I went back to our roommate afterwards and I was like, did you know that was a date? And she's like, yeah, that's why I was surprised you agreed to. She was like, it was clearly a date. And I was like, I didn't realize this, because the way he did it was like, we're all studying, and then he was saying how he wanted to see Deadpool 2.
Oh, okay.
And then I was like, oh yeah, I really want to watch that movie, blah, blah, blah. We're talking about how it looks cool based off of the trailers. And then he's like, oh, would you want to go? And I was like, yeah, sure. And I think we agreed to go like that weekend because she was like, all of you guys were leaving for spring or winter break or something. So I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to be the only one here. Sure, it'd be fun to go to a movie and not be home alone sad until my flight. So I was like,
fair.
Yeah, I was like, sure, great, whatever. I feel like that was clearly not a date ask out, but open to interpretation, I guess.
Yeah. I don't know. Like,
That doesn't give me like, hey, do you want, like she was there too. She was like slightly involved in the conversation because she was also like, oh yeah, that seems cool, blah, 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 blah. And he's like, oh, would you want to go? But she's like, oh, I'm leaving on Saturday. And I was like, oh, I can do Saturday because I'm still here.
Yeah.
Like it was.
I guess, yeah. Now that you explain it that way, because if you have 3 people in a room
Exactly.
and you're like, hey, do you want to go see a movie? It does not seem like, hey, do you want to go on a movie?
Exactly.
Like, okay.
Exactly.
I get you.
So I was like, oh, sure. Like it was a group event and then she couldn't make it. So I'm going to go. Didn't think anything of it. Okay. Then we go to the movie, right? First of all, we went to the movie at 10 a.m. We went to a matinee movie. Nothing about that screams date to me.
That is true. Matinees or afternoon movies or afternoon anything, unless you're already dating, doesn't really seem like a date.
Exactly. It wasn't even afternoon. It was 10 a.m. My first meal that day was the fucking popcorn.
Health and fitness is what we are.
So we go to the movie and then like we both show up there, whatever. So it's not like he like picked me up or anything, right? We like met at the movies, like very rudimentary, like
yeah.
Even like if this was a date, it's like high school, giving high school, my parents dropped me off vibes.
My parents are in the back row, making sure you do not put your arm around my shoulders.
So literally nothing about, it's still wild to me how I ended up in this situation. Anyways, like going back on it, I'm like, oh wow. And then, so I get shown to the movie and then he's like, oh, do you want popcorn? I can buy you a popcorn. I was like, nah, it's okay. It's 10:30. Oh, I didn't end up getting popcorn because I was like, it is 10:30. I can't be doing this to my body. So I didn't get popcorn actually. I think that's the one time I've never gotten popcorn at a movie. And then go watch a movie, whatever. It was slightly awkward, but I didn't, like I felt slightly awkward, but I didn't, I just thought maybe that was me. I don't know. Just overthinking it.
Yeah, like if you hadn't spent one-on-one time with him beforehand,
exactly.
like if your only interaction with him was like in the study group with other people,
exactly,
like,
and that's what
like
it was.
On edge thing, yeah,
exactly, yeah. So it was like the first time we had hung out outside of the class, so I was just like, oh, this is just that weird awkwardness when you're hanging out with like a coworker or a classmate outside of those environments for the first time.
Yeah,
whatever, blew it off. And to be honest, this person is also slightly awkward in general, like in their interactions, and even in interactions like we've had.
Yeah.
So I just kind of like blew it off as that, like general nervous energy emulating off of him that I'm overreading whatever it was. So movie's done. It's now noon. And so we're leaving and he's asking me, he's like, oh, do you have plans after this? Blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh yeah, just gonna pack because I'm leaving for, gonna fly back home in a few days, like, or that day, something like that. Like, whatever, nothing much. And then he's like, oh, do you want to grab lunch? There's a restaurant right across the street from the theater. So he's like, oh, do you want to get something to eat? And I was like, yeah, it's noon. I should eat something and then I'll go home. I'll pack, whatever. No worries. Okay, cool. Go to the restaurant. We went to Sherry's, I think.
Like the diner?
Yes.
Like with pies?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. It was right across the street from the movies. It was literally like you go out the front door and it's just Sherry's. Like, huge sign.
I like pie.
So yeah, so he was like, do you want to just go? I was like, oh shit. Okay, sure. Never been there before.
Yeah.
Knew only that they had pie. And so we go there and the lady sits us. Apparently they have 2-person booths where it's literally just like wide enough for one person to sit.
Yeah.
Mini table and then enough for the other person to sit. So she sat us at one of those in the back of the restaurant. And I was like, this is weird. Like the wall's right here up on my arm. Like I barely have enough space to like do
my
it.
Wingspan.
Yeah. I was like, I don't need a man spread, but like if I were to, I don't got the room for that.
Oh my God, that's how we fight man spreading. Just
put them all in tiny booths.
Yeah. Only allow them to have very small chairs, very small booths. We've just made world peace happen.
You're welcome. You're so welcome.
Simple solution, everybody.
Put all men in small booths. But have you seen that rule that like men are supposed to, when you're seated at a restaurant that has like a booth and a chair situation,
yes,
to always give the woman the booth?
Yes, it is a rule.
Yeah. Notes for later, men.
Yes.
Anyways, so we're seated there, and then it's not until like halfway through, I think after we had ordered and we're waiting for our food and we're like talking, that I'm like, oh shit, he thinks this is a fucking date. Because he's like, oh, what's your family like? And it like broke into it. And I was like, okay, maybe. At first I was like, maybe, oh yeah, we haven't really talked, like, I don't know anything about you, sure, talking a little bit. And then about halfway in, I was like, oh no, these are like dating questions.
Yeah. Okay, like do you have any like specific dating questions that you would ask on a first date? To like weed through the people you don't want to see again?
I don't know if I have any specific questions. I definitely like to ask like, what's their family life like? Like that sort of a thing.
Where are you from?
Yeah, where are you from? I like to ask what birth order they're, like what their sibling situation is.
Okay.
Because I feel like that tells you a lot about a person. Like first of all, where they fall in the chart, because I was raised as an oldest child, even though technically I'm a middle child. So I definitely need to be with the youngest child just for like birth order sanity.
Okay.
So I not actively look for that, but if it's also an oldest child that I were like to go on a date with, that would not quite be a red flag, but like a point of concern, because I'm a hothead and I know you're more likely going to be a hothead. And that
interesting. Wait, wouldn't the younger siblings be more of hotheads because like they're the babies, and so if like they don't get their way in a certain situation?
Okay, I see what you mean. Yeah,
but this coming from an only child, so I have no idea. I have no idea.
More like type A then.
Okay.
Like if you're an oldest child, usually you're very type A, like you like things a certain way, or you're very determined and bullheaded and stubborn. I gotcha. And I can't have that in my partner. And usually the youngest is a little bit more easygoing, much more flexible, and I need that in my life.
That's fair.
Which is why my partner is a youngest child.
Listen, as an only child, I got all the toxic traits of the oldest, middle, and youngest child.
Beautiful.
So.
I know you beat me by one. I have oldest and middle symptoms. It's fine.
I'm just falling apart.
It's one more degree of falling apart.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
But yeah,
anyway,
I like asking that. See how they react to that. Also, if you're seriously considering someone as a date partner, I think it's very interesting to have them talk about what is their how their parent of their gender. So like usually I date men, so I like to ask them how they view their dad, because I feel like that tells you like what they strive to be, and what they would want to be, and then how they would describe their mom, because that, first of all, mama's voice, we've talked about it before, can be a red flag.
Yes.
So I need to see if they have, first of all, if they respect women, how they're going to talk about their mom, if they view her in a positive light, or if she's psycho. Sometimes those things are valid though, so it's like you have to take it with a grain of salt. It gets kind of iffy, but as long as I want to see if they respect their mom, therefore they respect women. Yeah. But not praise her in a goddess light, because then that can lead to issues in our relationship. Right. Yeah. So I gotcha. Nice. What about you? Do you have any when you first go on a date filtering questions?
Yes. I mean, okay, this was within the last couple of years. I've gotten a lot more just straightforward, because I didn't want to waste time, because for me, and I know a lot of people like just to date around and do that, like that's fine, but in my situation, I want to date to end up in a long-term relationship, to build a future with this person. And so I was raised, and I think a lot of the people from the previous couple of generations were raised like, don't talk politics, don't talk any of that stuff, like that's inappropriate. But in a dating situation, I want to get out, especially as women of color. And I was dating, went on a date with like white men. Like I just need to know a certain, certain things. Like, so I think,
don't fetishize me. Step one.
Yeah. So I would kind of ask like, oh, in a not direct like, oh, who did you vote for situation, but like about certain things. Like if I'm not dating someone, I'm not going on dates now, but like if I were just about to date my partner that I'm with now, I would ask like, how do you feel about or I would mention like Drag Race or something like that. Or like you know, like would you ever want to go to a drag show with me? Or like start talking about what could be controversial topics to see where they land on that spectrum. And I honestly think that my current boyfriend now, we talked about like Trump being in office and how like we were like, that's a joke situation. Like, like very controversial things about voting and women's rights and other things like that. Just because if it was completely opposite, then I'm like, why am I here? Like we should just leave and cut our losses. So I think I do ask very kind of straightforward questions like that. And then also kind of talk about like families, like where did you grow up? What do you do for work? Like what do you like to do outside of work? What are your hobbies? Not that we need to align in all of our hobbies, but I also want you to have hobbies.
Yeah, it's more, do you have hobbies? And are they anything weird? Yeah. Are they any red flag hobbies?
Yeah, because dating someone without any hobbies, it's like, so then what do you do? Yeah. You know? Yeah. And it's also like, am I going to become your whole world? Because in some ways, like, oh, I'm his whole world. But other times I'm like, you know, like I need my space too. Like,
I'm still an introvert.
I'm an introvert. But those are the types of questions I ask.
I mean, hard hitting and very valid.
I feel very like people are very controversial or against doing that on first dates, but I'm like, me.
Yeah. So did you talk about that on your first dates with your partner?
Yeah.
Crazy.
I mean, might as well just, because if he was like hardcore, the opposite of whatever
it makes sense. It absolutely makes sense. Yeah. Like,
because it's just like those things. I think that even though some people find those topics to be like inappropriate to talk about, which I totally understand and I get it. I get that in like a friendship setting, like where you're not.
Really?
Yeah. Like when you first start hanging out with someone like as a friend, gotcha. Like you're just like maybe further down the line, you're like, oh, like they ended up being kind of weird, like as a friend or whatever. But like when you're dating someone, I think that's a different type of relationship where it becomes appropriate to kind of talk about those things. So.
No, that absolutely makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah. Come at me though. I know other people will think differently.
Yeah, some people won't like that.
I'm ready. Hello. If you're hearing this, that means we have found a break in our trains of thought. I know. Kind of crazy, like our podcast isn't chaotic or something like that. Anyway, this week we have a sponsor for this episode, and our sponsor is Newsly. And you're probably wondering, what is Newsly? Newsly is an all-in-one audio super app for iOS and Android. It picks up the most trending articles on the web on topics you choose at any given moment and reads them to you in a natural human voice. For the first time, the entire web becomes listenable, all in one place. So you can stop scrolling and start listening. You can follow any topic as specific as you'd want, from sports to business to Bitcoin or even the Kardashians. They have podcasts as well. Explore trending podcasts from over 80 countries. Our podcast, The Midnight Memo, will be there too. So make sure to check them out, download and use Newsly for free now from www.newsly.me or from the link we have down in our description. You can also use the promo code TMM and receive 1 month of free premium subscription. That is TMM for 1 month of free premium subscription. That is right. So make sure to go check us out on the Newsly app. You will not regret it. Now back to the podcast.
I mean, at least you're consistent. Like the questions you're saying that you would use on your first date, you actually did use on your first date with your partner. Yeah. And if I count my first non-date date with my partner, then I also did the same thing. Yeah. Because I didn't know. I also didn't know that was a date. I have a streak.
So what we're learning is that Kristen, if you ask Kristen out on a date, she won't know it's a date.
I need you to be clear. Okay, let's get one thing straight. I need you to be clear. Yes. Also, I didn't know it was a date with my partner because I'm gonna out this man. He's gonna hate me. He also asked out a different girl like the week before. And it was one of my friends.
Well,
and so
the tea has been spilt.
When they went out, she kept coming to me and she was like, is this a friend date? Is this a date? I'm like, freaking ask him. I don't know. Yeah. Like, if you're worried about that, because I guess I was like, which do you want it to be? Like, first of all,
Yeah.
Step one, she didn't know what she wanted it to be, so she was like freaking out over it. And I was like, listen, if you want to know, just ask.
Yeah.
And so they went on their not date. It was not a date though, but she thought it was a date.
Oh.
Made it weird.
Okay. Well, taco.
Yeah, I think she overthought it, and then she thought it was a date, and he didn't mean it to be like that. And then it got real awkward real fast. From what I've been told from her the next day and from him later.
I got you. Okay.
So that when he asked me, because of that, I went into it of the mindset of this is just a friend date. He's just, whatever, getting to know friends. I don't know. It's still weird, but
Okay.
I was like, sure, friend date. And then we went in asking serious stuff like that. Like, what's your family like? What's the family dynamic? What do you do in your, like, all the questions that I've already said. So.
Okay. So,
Consistent.
yeah. Okay, then going back to Sherry's Diner.
Sherry's Diner.
Tell us how the rest of the date went.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so with that, my first encounter of going on a date and not realizing it was a date. So it got very awkward very quickly. I wanted nothing more than to like retreat forever and ever. And I felt really bad because I was like, you obviously think this is a date and I don't.
Yeah.
And I didn't this whole time. And I don't want to give this person the wrong impressions because I didn't have any interest dating them. Like just was not my interest top of mind at the moment.
Yeah.
So wanted to get out of there, quickly tried to eat and leave. Like I felt bad too. I was like trying to answer their questions without leaving any room. They were still like trying to ask me questions, like dating questions. And I was trying to answer them in a way that doesn't leave open to basically not flirty.
Yeah.
Like as much as I could in any way, shape or form. Quickly eat, leave, and then I think he like offered to like drive me back or something. Like he was like, oh, I can walk you to your car, I can drive you back. And I was like, no, it's okay. Like I'm parked right over there, and I actually have to go run to do something before I head back to campus for whatever I need. So I'll see you next semester.
Yeah.
Like
see ya. Wouldn't want to be ya.
Yeah, that was awkward. The next semester, very awkward.
I could imagine.
Very, very awkward because this was June. I think this was senior year. So we were at that point, you're in all your higher up math classes together. So had another class with him, and I was like, you are definitely avoiding me. And that's kind of fair. I understand.
Yeah.
But
I get
bad.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. So if you ever ask what's the most awkward time a guy's asked you out, you could be like, in a group setting.
In a group setting. And to watch a matinee movie.
Yeah.
That was just a revamp of the first one. Spoilers, sorry.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Cool.
Yeah. But tell me about some of your awkward dating experiences.
Yeah. So the first one that comes to mind, I think you know this story because I think I've shared it a couple of times, but it wasn't the individual dates that were awkward. It was the time in between the dates that we had that was really, really awkward.
Okay.
And so I was living in San Francisco at the time, and I was using a dating app, and we were talking for, I want to say, maybe a week or so before we actually got to meet up. And so we met up at this like really small like boba shop and cafe. Sure. And I was like, you know what, I'm expecting maybe an hour. And then we ended up spending, I want to say like 6 hours together, and we were just like, it was a really good first date. And so I was like, okay, like this has potential,
right?
We'll see. And then I think I had laid out too this is what I usually do in the beginning of dating someone. If I want there to be like no pressure, if one of us, it turns out, is uninterested, then I would rather just be straightforward about it than beat around the bush of like slowly drifting off or ghosting or like whatever,
Ghosting's just fucking, there's no reason.
Like you can say like, if I'm being completely transparent, I don't really see a romantic relationship here, like whatever. And I'd be like, okay, fine. Like maybe I'll be disappointed, maybe I won't be, but it's better than being like either led on or like,
dragging it out. I'd rather, like, it sucks to hear, but it's just at that point it's ripping off the Band-Aid, right? Like that way the person doesn't have any lingering and closure, that way they're not like, oh my gosh, wait, did they ghost me? Maybe they texted me and I just didn't get it, and you'll just lead the other person into like a frenzy, and it's not fair, it's not fun, it's not cute. So I laid that out like very straightforward on the first date, and I was like, but the first date went really well. I was like, great, cool. And then I think we were gonna have a second date or something like that, and it was during like award seasons for TV shows, movies, whatever, and I had been invited to a friend's for the Grammys.
Was it Grammys? Maybe it was the Grammys.
I think so. Something, one of the award shows.
And so before, or it might have been, no, this is incorrect. So we went on a second date, and even though the first date went really well, like I wasn't feeling a lot of connection on the second date.
Okay.
And so I think I was very straightforward and was like, I think like we would be like awesome friends and like hang out, but I don't really see a potential for romance in this relationship. And I want to apologize. Like, I don't want to put you in a weird situation. So like, if you want to hang out as friends, like I'm open to it. But if you don't and you just want to drop it, cool. Like, and he was like, no, yeah, like we could for sure be friends. And I was like, okay, great. So like left the second date, like pretty confident.
Yeah.
And then
we're now not dating. We're just friends.
Now not dating, just friends. If we wanted to like go get like coffee or whatever
Something.
later,
Yeah.
totally cool. And so then that's when I went to the Grammy party or Oscar party or whatever at a friend's house.
Yeah.
And he started blowing up my phone, like, and was really, really angry at me, like how I think he was like, how dare you be open to dating other people and not me? And he started.
Which there was no grounds for that because you weren't.
We were no longer seeing each other. We were no longer dating.
But also, like, I mean, maybe he knows this, maybe he doesn't know this. First of all, that's not your personality to date around. But second of all, like, even when you went on these dates with him, it's not like you were dating other people either.
Yeah.
So and it's like there's no grounds for that comment.
Exactly. Like, we had never said, this is going to be, like, I'm not dating anyone else. Like, I don't want you to date anyone else, whatever. And it was, like, only the second date. Like, come on. And so, he was, like, blowing up my phone, really, really mad, kind of, like, threatening me in certain ways. And then I texted him back and I was like, hey, like, I'm at a party. Can we do this later? Like, I just don't want to cause a scene. He kept blowing up my phone. And so then I, like, silenced him on my phone and just stopped responding. Yeah. Next thing, he started messaging me on my Instagram account. Yeah. And so then I didn't want to entertain what he was saying because I can't remember the exact text messages, but they weren't, like, I don't know. They made me feel threatened. So it was like, I wasn't just ignoring him to ignore him. You know, like, I didn't want to involve, like, I didn't want to tell him where I was. I didn't want to, like, entertain that option. And so I didn't respond on Instagram. Then he started messaging me on Facebook.
Like when you reach for Facebook, you're pulling at straws at that point.
Yeah.
I feel like
intermittently between all these messages, he was calling me and he was like all this stuff and really mad that, like, how dare I date other people and not him? Like, if I wanted to be, like, single, then be single, like, if, like, all this stuff. And I'm like, I don't understand where this anger is coming from. Yeah. Especially because, again, we had laid out everything. Like, if one of us isn't into it, fine. And when I even told him I'm not into it, he was like, fine, like, completely fine.
Yeah. And so, he took it very well on your second date from what you told me.
Yeah. So there was literally no signs to be like, oh, like, I guess he's upset about it or anything like that. And eventually, like, I blocked him from, like, Instagram. I blocked him from Facebook. I blocked him from my phone. And I was, like, calling my mom. I was like, luckily I didn't take him back to where I was living. So because otherwise I'm pretty sure he would have showed up at my door. But I called my mom and she was like, at this point, he's in a state where he can't really be reasoned with. Yeah. So you just have to take the blame for everything and apologize that you didn't handle it correctly or something like that. And so that's what I did. Like, I ended up texting him, like, I'm so sorry that, like, I hurt you. I did not mean to do that. I did not handle it correctly. Like, all this, whatever. Just, like, swallow your pride and do it.
I was just thinking that. I was like, I don't know. Like, for safety, you definitely had to do that. But, like, my oldest child in me does not want to do that.
Yeah, like, I was literally fighting with my mom, too. I was like, I literally did nothing wrong. Like, this isn't even...
Why should I have to
and
be the bigger person in this situation?
I'm like, I don't want to be the bigger person. I want to take the road to hell. Like,
I was like, I will be the littlest person ever to take this.
Like... and then, so I ended up sending that message saying, it's all my fault, blah, blah, blah. And he was like, okay, thanks for apologizing. And then something along the lines of, I guess I should have told you before that I'm autistic and I do not handle anger very well. And, like, I want to be clear about this. I do not care that he's autistic. I do not care. I consider myself autistic, like, half the time. And, but the thing is that when, I guess, like, you could have let me know, or, like, in some way, like, I don't know how we could have like, mediated that. Yeah. Because
it's tough. I understand. I don't know. I mean, I would assume depending on your confidence and acceptance of yourself being autistic, depends what point you bring that up. I would assume for most people, unless they're very, very confident, would not bring that up on a second date.
Yeah. Like, I get it that he did not bring it up, but at the same time, the amount of anger and, like threatening messages, like, in
scary.
some ways, I'm like, I get that you're mad and you can get mad, but to threaten me on multiple platforms is, like, another level that I don't really know if it was associated. Like, I don't know. Because when you get mad, you get mad. You can yell, scream, whatever, yell at me on the phone, whatever, but to, like, threaten me and
multiple times platforms.
Yeah, like, I just don't know. I was like, okay, like, thank you for telling me, and I hope that, like, everything's good now, but just leave me alone now.
Yeah, please don't reach out to me again. Thank you.
So I think that was like the worst dating experience I had.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Mm-hmm.
That'll do her.
Yeah. But I don't know. I guess we don't really have time to talk about breakup stories, but that could be another episode.
That could be another episode. I have a lot of breakup stories.
I do too. And I feel like a lot of them, except for one, was pretty good. Like, so.
Wow. Don't have the same.
Yeah.
I had a lot of weird breakups. I don't have nice breakups.
Yeah. I mean, the one that was weird, I thought it was nice and then it was not nice. So.
Are we talking about the college one? College relationship or no?
No. I mean, it was one in college, but I'm not sure which one you're.
We'll have to talk about.
Okay.
We'll circle back. We'll get to it.
We'll put a pin in it. If you guys want to hear some fun breakup stories, let us know.
Fun breakup? Said no one ever.
Listen, sometimes in retrospect, it's kind of fun to talk about them.
Okay.
I guess that's controversial. I don't know. Okay.
For some of us.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that was fun.
Yeah. Super fun.
I'm not gonna put
super lighthearted.
Very Black Cat energy of Claire.
Yeah. We enjoy breakups. We celebrate them.
We celebrate.
Celebrate cups.
Anyways, thank you so much for joining us on this week's episode of the Midnight Memo, where we talked about weird dating, not dating stories.
Yeah. Let us know what the weirdest or how someone has asked you out. Like, what's the weirdest way someone has asked you out?
Oh, that's a totally different topic. I got weird shit there too.
Yeah. I mean, the dating story you shared today was kind of weird. Like, who asks someone out in a group setting? That's like, it seems like a group invitation, and then it's like, oh, but it's a date.
Yeah.
Unless he's polygamous.
You know, definitely didn't strike me as that type of guy. Listen,
but it's a possibility.
I don't know. I've never asked. Never really talked to him since then. But he didn't strike me as the guy.
Okay.
Anyways, yes, thank you so much for joining us on this week's episode. Don't forget to hit that follow button and subscribe so that way you can be notified when our next episode drops next Tuesday, and on YouTube on Wednesdays. Mm-hmm. Also, we have a promo code with the Newsly app that you can download so you have unlimited access to a bunch of podcasts, including ourselves. If you use our code TMM, you get 1 month of free premium subscription. You've heard the ad, and now I've just done it again. And don't forget to follow us on our various social media platforms that'll be listed on the screen, and reach out to us if you have any questions, things you want to talk about, or to tell us your breakup stories. Or sorry, not breakup, dating stories.
Yeah.
Because we love to hear.
Or breakup stories. I like those too.
Or both.
Yeah. Yeah, and also don't forget to rate us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, whatever. It would super help us out. Okay.
All right, thanks you guys.
Bye.